Most teenagers count down to their 18th birthday because they want freedom. I counted down because of a trust fund. My grandparents had created it before they passed away. They believed education would change my life. So they left enough money to pay for college, start a business, or buy a home one day. There was one rule. I couldn't access it until midnight on my 18th birthday. Everyone in my family knew about it, especially my mother. Whenever she talked about the future, she never said, "Your trust fund." She always said, "Our money." At first, I thought she was joking. Then the jokes became plans. "We'll pay off my debts. We'll renovate the house. You don't need all that money." Every conversation made me uncomfortable. One evening, I accidentally overheard my mother talking on the phone. "Once the account opens, I'll move everything before they even understand what happened." My heart stopped. She wasn't joking anymore. She had a plan, and my 18th birthday was only 2 days away. I realized something terrifying. If I did nothing, I could lose everything my grandparents had worked so hard to leave me. That night, I searched through an old box of family papers. Hidden beneath photo albums was a letter from my grandfather. It was addressed to me. "Open this only if you ever feel someone is trying to take away your future." My hands trembled as I unfolded the paper. Inside was a short message. "Trust people with your heart. Never trust them blindly with your future." Attached was the business card of the attorney who had created the trust. The next morning, I skipped school and visited the lawyer. He welcomed me with a warm smile. "I've been hoping you would come before your birthday." That surprised me. He explained that my grandfather had anticipated the possibility of family pressure. He had included legal protections in the trust. But there was one final step. It had to be completed before my 18th birthday. And there were only hours left. The lawyer carefully explained my options. I could leave the trust exactly as it was. Or I could activate an additional protection my grandfather had prepared years earlier. It would place the money into a secured educational and investment trust under my sole control. No one, not even a parent, could withdraw, transfer, or pressure access without my written approval. I didn't hesitate. I want to activate it. The paperwork took less than an hour. When I signed the final page, the lawyer smiled. "Congratulations. Your grandfather would be proud." By the time I walked out of his office, everything had changed. Legally. Permanently. My future was finally protected, and my mother had absolutely no idea. At exactly midnight, my mother knocked on my bedroom door. She was smiling. "Happy 18th birthday." She carried a cake. Behind her smile, I sensed excitement. Not for me. For the money. The next morning, she insisted we visit the bank together. "This will be easier if I help." I quietly agreed. Inside the bank, she confidently asked the manager to begin transferring funds. The manager looked at the account, then looked back at my mother. "I'm sorry. That isn't possible." My mother's smile disappeared. "What do you mean?" The manager explained that the trust had been legally updated. Only I had authority over it. No one else. Not even an immediate family member. She stared at me in complete shock. "You knew." I nodded. I made sure Grandpa's wishes were protected. The entire bank fell silent. Outside the bank, my mother burst into tears. At first, she was angry. She accused me of not trusting her. Then, slowly, the anger disappeared. Only guilt remained. She admitted she had fallen into debt years earlier. Instead of asking for help honestly, she convinced herself that my trust fund was the easiest solution. I told myself I'd pay it back. She looked at the ground. But deep down, I knew I probably wouldn't. It was the first honest conversation we had shared in years. I listened quietly. Then I answered, "Grandpa didn't leave me money because he loved you less. He left it because he wanted me to have opportunities." My mother wiped away her tears. For the first time, she understood the difference between help and entitlement. Years later, I graduated from college without debt. I started a successful business. Eventually, I bought my own home. The trust fund had done exactly what my grandparents intended. It gave me a future, not a fortune to waste. My relationship with my mother slowly healed, not because we ignored the past, but because we finally faced it honestly. One evening, she looked at me and smiled. "Your grandfather was wiser than I ever realized." I smiled back. "He wasn't protecting the money. He was protecting me." She nodded with tears in her eyes. And at that moment, I understood the greatest lesson my grandfather had ever taught me. An inheritance isn't measured by the size of the account. It's measured by the future it makes possible. My mother thought she was about to take my trust fund. She never realized that, just hours before my 18th birthday, my grandfather's final lesson had already secured something far more valuable than money. It had secured my independence. And sometimes, the greatest act of love isn't giving someone wealth. It's making sure no one can steal the future you dreamed for them.
Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a new emotional story. Your support means more than words can say, and it helps us continue bringing these untold stories to life.